Hello there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, survivor, advocate, certified trauma recovery coach, and certified master energy practitioner from DanaArcuri.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everybody is doing really good. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new content. And if you are returning, welcome back. It is wonderful to have you here. So I have a client who asked a really good question, and I thought I would turn it into a YouTube video because it was something I actually thought about, especially because in July 2023, it will be my 5-year anniversary of being narcissistic abuse free. There's a lot that can happen in this timeline of 5 years. And my client asked, what is the difference between how you were, say, back in 2017 in the early days before you ever went no contact with your narcissistic mother and flying monkey siblings versus how are you now and how did you change? I think a lot of people are curious, especially if you are either A, you haven't gone no contact, B, you are in gray rock, C, you just went no contact. It might be very challenging. The narc and flying monkeys may be hoovering you, creating smear campaigns, retaliating against you, and you are just flooded by cortisol that's just totally having you in overwhelm. And of course, it's a trauma response, so it's really normal if you don't feel safe, if you have hypervigilance, if you disassociate, if your body just shuts down, either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Now, someone recently also asked about fawning. So fawning is not talked about that much in our world. Fawning is really common, especially if you were abused or neglected or you suffered narcissistic abuse as a child. So fawning is basically you are abandoning yourself to keep the perpetrator happy. You're basically in survival mode. You are trying to seek approval, and it could be on a subconscious level. You might not even consciously be aware of it. So fawning is simply people-pleasing, trying to keep peace. You want the approval of the narcissist or the perpetrator or the flying monkey, and it could be other situations and other relationships that are toxic too, that you may fawn the individual without even knowing it. And so there's no blame, there's no shame. With fawning, again, it's a normal and common trauma response. If I consider what my client asked me, hey, how have you changed since 2017 to now, 2023? And obviously there's so many changes, I can't possibly list every one of them on a video. It's like my soul knows what my soul knows, and wow, what an expansion, what a transformation. I am obviously in a much better place today compared to, say, even 2016. So let's go back to 2016, 2017. During that timeline, this is when the discard happened. And what I mean by discard is oftentimes there is a stage called discard. That's when the flying monkeys and the narcissist are discarding you, the scapegoat. And you might notice that you're not invited to family celebrations, holidays, going out to dinner. And so back in that timeline, I definitely noticed the discard phase began. I personally myself started to disengage, to simply lay low, let it just be what it is. We're not going to fight it. We're not going to argue, but we are going to disengage from the flying monkey siblings and my narcissistic mother. And so I consciously chose to set healthy boundaries back then. And I do recall a situation where I had one really control freak sister of mine who was telling me, you need to do this and you need to do that. And basically she was trying to control me. And we can understand that there's a lot of people, especially the narcissist and the flying monkeys, who do try to control us and overpower us. They really pushed back when I set boundaries. I wasn't raised and they were not raised with boundaries. I guarantee my mother had no healthy boundaries ever. And she crossed my boundaries repeatedly. So this was a chronic situation, especially in 2017, 2018, there was a pushback. There was a lot of smear campaigns, a lot of triangulation of relationships. Things really kind of blew up in 2018. I had educated myself about, hey, what is narcissistic personality disorder? What are the signs of narcissistic abuse? Who are the flying monkeys? What is it? So flying monkeys, this is abuse by proxy. They are recruited by the narc to hurt us, to shame us, to blame us, to retaliate, to manipulate, to gaslight, to do everything in their power to hurt us. It could even be financial abuse. How have things changed from that early timeline to today, 2023? First, what changed was July 2018, reaching that turning point of knowing I can't change my mother. I can't change my siblings. They have to take responsibility and accountability for their cruel words, actions, and behaviors, and they choose to not do so. And I learned very fast in 2018 that education was the key to my recovery journey. So I really explored everything under the sun to do with psychologically abusive relationships, everything to do with narcissistic abuse, and everything in regards to, how do you heal? And there was a timeline where I did Gray Rock. So I do want to bring up Gray Rock. So the Gray Rock method is when you are laying low. You don't go out of your way to answer their emails, their phone calls. You might spend less time engaging with the narc and flying monkeys. You keep it brief, you keep it short. You don't let them ruffle your feathers. Obviously, this isn't easy. Let's be real. They bait us, they provoke us, they push our buttons, and boy, do they know which buttons to push. I know that you know what I'm talking about. And so it might be difficult to not overreact. Now, the key is to know the narc and flying monkeys, they want us screaming, cussing, crying. When someone is really genuinely sorry for hurting you and abusing you, they change their behaviors. When they don't change their behaviors, that's a sign of manipulation and that they are actually deliberately seeking to hurt you. And so, no, they're not sorry. And I was well aware that my mother and my siblings were not sorry. They have to live with that. That's on them. That's between them and God. That has nothing to do with me. And so I feel a lighter kind of feeling, this whole weight is lifted off my shoulders, because I could go to sleep at night and put my head on my pillow and know that I've done everything that I could have possibly done to try to salvage the relationships with these toxic family members back in the earlier days. And after doing everything I could possibly do to try to resolve all the dynamics, I came to the place in July 2018 when I realized you can't change the toxic, dysfunctional family dynamics. There was a lot of codependency. There was a lot of belittlement, criticism. The siblings who are so jealous. It speaks volumes about them. They have to do the healing themselves. I'm at a place where I know that the last resort was for me to break free from these toxic dynamics. And I'm so damn proud of myself for doing so. Woo! Yes, it was hard. I am helping thousands and thousands of people, and this is my mission in life. So today, I feel very strong. I feel empowered. I have to also give a shout out for the school that I went to, that they really did play a big role in my healing journey when I became a certified trauma recovery coach in 2021. So obviously from 2021 and to this point right now, I've done a lot of growth. So there's been a lot of spiritual growth, a lot of physical growth, a lot of professional growth, a lot of personal growth. And it's all transformed me into a totally different person. Things are so much different now compared to back in 2018. So I could feel happy about where I'm at, now understand so much about abuse that I could clearly see when someone is toxic towards me, and I no longer play the mind games. I no longer even engage in people who want to judge me and ostracize me and shame me and blame me. This place where we can understand that no contact is key to healing, and especially through the trauma recovery, because we understand that if we stay in toxic dynamics, it hinders our progress. It hinders our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our relationships, and everything going on in our lives. And I'm going to end with a powerful quote that's in my book, Soul Rescue. And it is something that really spoke to me. And that's why my book is called Soul Rescue: How to Break Free from Narcissistic Abuse and Heal Trauma. So this quote is by Alice Little, and she says, "As traumatized children, we always dreamed that someone would come and save us. We never dreamed that it would be, in fact, ourselves as adults." And so as adults, it is our choice to determine what is best for us. I hope today you rescue yourself. I hope today you know that you are so worthy, that you are so deserving to be treated very loving and caring and with respect and warmth and kindness and healthy boundaries. So share with me, how have you changed in your healing journey? Have you noticed the difference between my older videos from way back there and the newer current videos? I did have several clients, one especially, who said, "Wow, Dana, I've watched your older videos and you've had so much growth. In your younger days, when you were in the middle of the going no contact with your family in 2018, you had a lot of anger, but it felt so validating to watch you. I was so glad that you did express your anger because it's valid." And she said, "But I love how much you've grown, and you are giving me hope that I can grow and transform and be in a better place too." So like this video, subscribe to my channel, keep the comments going, and if you need any type of emotional support, you could contact me at danaarcuri.com. Thank you and God bless.